Hello and welcome to the channel. I am here for another versus video for you guys. Now this versus video was actually my original idea for the first versus video I ever wanted to do, but obviously this is not my first versus video, but here I am going to be making this one regardless. So for this video we'll be taking a look at two bands that are in the big four. Both are thrash metal bands. We'll be talking about Metallica and Megadeth. Now, I know it's a little controversial because both these bands get comparisons a lot. You know, there's people that, prefer Metallica. There's people that prefer Megadeth. If you want to know where I stand in that, I like both bands. It's really hard for me to choose a side here because I really think both bands have a lot of great things to offer. And I do think that both these albums are great, don't get me wrong. So we'll be taking a look at Metallica with their album Ride the Lightning versus Megadeth with their album Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? Now, I already do know which album I like more, but I do have to say this. Both these albums are great. If you call yourself a thrash metal fan, haven't listened to either of these albums yet, definitely give them a listen. I mean, I'd say they're essential for anyone who likes thrash metal for sure. Now, I will tell you which one I do prefer, even though I think both of them are great. And the one that I do prefer would have to be Ride the Lightning. And mainly the reason being is just because this is my favorite Metallica album, and I think it's just more enjoyable all the way through opposed to Peace Sells. But that's not to say that Peace Sells, isn't enjoyable all the way through. I just think this album just has more effect when it comes to that. Like, it's more captivating when listening to it opposed to Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? But let's go ahead and, get some of the pros right off the bat with Peace Sells. I mean, it starts off strong with Wake Up Dead, and I would say that Peace Sells, But Who's Buying has a stronger album opener than Ride the Lightning, because with Ride the Lightning you got Fight Fire with Fire, which is the opening track. I mean, when we're comparing opening tracks, I definitely prefer Wake Up Dead from Peace Sells. So I do got to give Megadeth points for that. I think that they opened up the album better than Metallica did with their second album, because these are both second albums by each band. And you got other songs on Peace Sells, like I Ain't Superstitious, which is probably my least favorite song on the album. I don't know, with Ride the Lightning, it just has better songwriting and just more enjoyable tracks overall, because with Ride the Lightning you get a lot of great songs like the title track, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Creeping Death, and even some of the deep cuts like Trapped Under Ice is really good as well. Now, I know everyone likes to complain about the song Escape. This is probably the weakest track on the album, but even in saying that, I don't think it's that bad of a song. I think it's better than the worst song that's on Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? But I have to give it to Metallica for this one, honestly. Now, like I said, it's really hard to choose, like as far as the bands go overall. Because I like both Metallica and Megadeth. But when it does come to the 80s time of these two bands, Metallica were just on top of their game in the 80s. I do feel like with time, Megadeth has kind of stepped up some things and has kind of gone maybe a little bit ahead of Metallica, especially with their recent material. I mean, they definitely were ahead of Metallica in the 90s. Maybe not as far as sales and success or anything. Obviously, you had the Black Album. But in the 90s, you had Rust in Peace and Countdown to Extinction, which are all fantastic. But for this video, I'm just comparing second album versus second album by Metallica and Megadeth, and Metallica wins for me with this one. Ride the Lightning, part of the reason that this album does win for me is, well, of course, it is my favorite Metallica album. I think it is their best album, and I just think the songwriting is a lot better overall. Now, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying has some solid material, and it's probably my second favorite Megadeth album, just behind Rust in Peace. But Obviously, like I said, Ride the Lightning is my favorite Metallica album, so that's one of the things that make it a better album for me, personally. Um, and I think Ride the Lightning is just a more enjoyable listen overall. Peace Sells, But Who's Buying is a great album. Don't get me wrong, but Ride the Lightning wins for me. So, there you go, guys. That is my versus video for Ride the Lightning by Metallica versus Peace Sells, But Who's Buying by Megadeth. Please let me know which album you like more. Which one did you enjoy more? Are you someone who's like me and enjoys both albums? But I choose Ride the Lightning any day, honestly. But yeah, there you go, guys. Let me know which one you prefer. And, let's have a good, decent discussion in the comments about it, I think both albums are great, so it's not like one is bad and the other isn't. So that's my video, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and take care.